Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally. And although today's collab is Valentines and romance and love, I did try to keep my thrift flips to be versatile so that if you do not celebrate Valentine's, you could do something similar, but change it up a bit for your everyday decor or for spring. So I am starting with this box. My daughter picked it up on the good table at the dump for me, and it held evidently some chocolate cigars once upon a time, which I thought was very appropriate for the season and quite a lovely box actually. And although I really love the box as it is, I did feel I needed to do something for this thrift flip to dress it up just a little bit and to make it a little bit more fitting my decor. So I just started by simply cleaning it and then going around the whole box with some watered down antiquing wax to give this a more vintage feel and to give it a little bit more in the deeper color that I like. And I did inside and outside of the box, and I even went over the label inside the box, and I absolutely love that label, so I'm not going to touch that. Since I decided to set this up as a vignette, I'm going to move on to the second one, and then you will see the finished product in a minute. I went on to Google. I did not go to any particular website. I just Googled chocolate advertising, and I got this Whitman's free printable, which I think is absolutely adorable. And so I just printed that onto rice paper, and I just tore the edges with some water and pulled that off just to have that look a little bit older and like it had been around for a while. And I do know that you can print and use graphics of any sort without any issues for copyright or what have you, as long as you're not selling it. So this is a collaboration with 16 other wonderful creators, and you can see the names of their channels here on this, as well as in the playlist in my description box if you want to check out a whole bunch of Valentine and love-related DIYs. So that is taking me to this sign that I'm making. I had a scrap board in my garage that was some wood my nephew had cut off of his property and planed at his mill, and he had given me the cut ends. He's building a home, and so I have a number of these, and I wanted to go ahead and just decoupage this artwork directly onto the wood as it is after I sanded it and, kept it smooth. Because I like how light it is. I did not want to have to paint this board, and since it was light enough to not require paint, I was able to just decoupage this directly on the top. And then once that's dry, I am going to take some antiquing wax and I'm going to wax over the side and the back and the edges of this to give this a real vintage feel without getting the color underneath that paper. I wiped that back with a rag, and then once I had these both dry, I put this vignette together with some chocolate type related items that I had in my stash. So this sign I think is really very vintage and very sweet. And then here it is with the box and a little pillow I have that's chocolate related as well. I had a hot chocolate melting pot and some wax candles that resembled snacks, so I thought that was really cute to put in this box. But if you wanted to do this for spring, you could put florals, you could put bird in a bird's nest, you could put some vintage items that you have, anything like that. So I think that this came out very sweet, and I really, no pun intended, I really like this decor in the vintage style. Before we move on, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. YouTube is dropping off. It is doing some really weird things to my channel, which is definitely not helping. So if you would share this or like it or comment, that definitely helps me. And now I'm moving on. This was left over. If you saw my last Valentine video a couple weeks ago, I had taken apart a Dollar Tree banner of sorts, and I used some bits and pieces of it, and I had this left over. And so it was cut on both the top and bottom, so I decided to just glue the bottom and make this into a pocket. And then once that was done, I took some twine, just tied the knots and made a little hanger. And then once I had that, I added a lace bow to the area that I had taken the heart off in the front out of the Dollar Tree lace ribbon. And then I took some fiber fill and stuffed the bottom just to give this a little bit of a puffy feeling so that I could put a few things in there. And then that was pretty much all I did to this. I took a little graphic from the graphicsfairy.com that was a vintage Valentine, and I cut it into, I had used another half on a different project, and this is what I had left over, which was perfect because it had this pretty little dove, and I had picked up this little white dove recently in a thrift flipping haul. I had a whole bag of stuff for $5, and this was part of it, and I thought that that was really sweet to go along with that Valentine. But of course you could put anything in here: florals, a love letter, chocolates, anything vintage and Valentine in nature if you are decorating for Valentine's Day. And so I just hung that up in my foyer, and I thought that looked really cute as it is, but it would be also great on a door for a little wreath, and very, very inexpensive. So once I was finished with this item, then I moved on to my favorite item of the day. I picked up this basket at the Goodwill bins for less than $1, and I think it's very cute. It has those three little pegs at the bottom. It has a nice wooden handle, and it's very sturdy. It's in excellent shape, but I don't love the color for my decor. It's a little bit light, and I was going to try to hide some of the multicolored stripes on the front. So I just took a chippy brush and used some of a linen vintage color chalked paint and went around the basket portion of this, leaving the wood. And then once I had that finished, then I pulled out my antiquing wax, and I antiqued both the handle and the peg portion, anything that was wooden on this, so that it would be a little bit darker and go better with my decor. I think that these baskets might be fairly easy to find while you're out thrifting. I have seen 3 or 4 of them recently, and I have never picked one up. And I put a cute little swan and some greens that I had hanging around as more of a spring feel for those of you who are not doing Valentine. But my all-time favorite are these sweet pictures of my husband and his siblings that I have had sitting on my desk for quite some time now, and I absolutely love how this came out. This could be everyday decor, or in this case, I added some hearts and some other things, and I think it is just incredibly sweet. The last thing I did, because I was doing this anyways to show you, I had some beets and boiled the beets for eating, and then kept the beet juice. And I took some white cream colored wool yarn that I had spun a few years ago. And I just moved that around, dipping that in just so that it could get in and about the fibers that are twisted. And then once I had that in there, I took some roving, so some fiber that has yet to be spun, and I put that in there as well, and then I let that dry in front of my wood stove to see how that would come out. I love this beautiful color. I knew that it would be more pink when it was finished, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So there's lots of different natural dyes. You can find that out on Pinterest. But here is the beautiful beet juice wet. And then once it is fully dry, here is how that fiber dried. And I'm hoping to use that in a future project. I didn't have time in this video today to continue on with this. But I would love to know what you think about these sweet vintage Valentine projects today. Please leave me a comment and let me know which was your favorite. Don't forget to check out the playlist that is in my description box with all the other creators. And thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.